What's up, beautiful people? It's Demetrius and Anika here with Clair Em Motivators. And today is a special video for us, a subject that's near and dear to both of our hearts. So we just wanted to come in and talk to you all because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And this is the first Monday in October when this video will be posted. And so we felt like because the subject is so important to us, it's only fair that we acknowledge it and talk about it. Anika is a physician, and so she's going to give us some tips and some information about breast cancer and how to detect it early. And then I'm going to ask some follow-up questions and always provide you all with an opportunity in the comments to ask any questions or leave any comments that you have about the subject. But before we jump into the topic, as we do every week here with Clair Em Motivators, I wanted to talk about what is motivating us this week. So for me, I am motivated by the women that I see that kick breast cancer in the teeth every day. I know several people personally who are survivors, and I also know people who lost their battle with breast cancer as well. And so just seeing the women that are battling this disease and doing it in the best way that they can and having the support of their friends and family and community, that is super motivational for me. And this subject is very close to my heart because my husband Chris, who you've seen in some videos before, his mother actually passed away from breast cancer when he was younger, when he was a teenager. And then I remember a scare that mom had, Nikki. I still remember that when I wrote her that letter when I was a kid. Yeah, it was a super selfish letter, but the intent behind it was good. I told her that I didn't want her to die because I wouldn't have a ride to school.
But you should put it in context and tell them how old you were.
Right. I was in like first grade, I think. I was really, really young. And the thing that's so funny, Nikki, Mama always talks about how special it made her feel because she's like, my baby really loves school. And she sees me as being the way that she gets there.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
it meant
take
something
it how
to her.
you can.
Right, reading it back, I'm like, oh, kids are selfish. And then our grandmother also had breast cancer and had a double mastectomy, I think, at some point, and then ultimately passed away. So she's always in our hearts and on our minds, and so that's the reason why we hold this subject so closely. What about you, sis?
Yeah, I have to second that. For everyone who fights that fight and win, for everyone who fights that fight and does not win, for all those who hold those women up to fight that fight with them, because we talk about the survivors and they have families, sons, daughters, cousins, aunts, spouses that fight that battle with them. And as you mentioned with Granny, she's the reason I'm a physician today. She was diagnosed with breast cancer when we were very young. The first time I was in the third grade, and so she was my first experience with health and sickness. And so without her and out her experience, I wouldn't be sitting here as a physician today. She kicked that battle and she won, and then years later, it came back and she didn't quite win that battle. But she's in a better place, and so this is always a topic that is very, very near and dear to our hearts because it's one that we've gone through as well.
Right. Yeah, and it's like I said, it's amazing, especially to know your story and to know that that's the reason why you became a physician, because our grandmother was dealing with that, and then for you now to be able to offer tips as a physician to help other women, everything came full circle, and obviously her life was not in vain. So with that, you've told me this before, that early detection is key when it comes to catching breast cancer early and being able to get the treatment to deal with it. So can you give us some information about how we can go about detecting it early?
Absolutely. So there is no preventative when it comes to breast cancer or any type of cancer. The name of the game is early detection, because with early detection, my treatment options are different. One thing that as women we can do, old and young, are our monthly self-breast exams. Now, I always get the comment that, hey, doc, I don't know what it is I am feeling for. Yes, I do my breast exam, but I can't tell. One good thing, there's good news. We know this. It's not that you have to be an expert in order to do your self-breast exams. The whole key, believe it or not, to self-breast exams is so that you become familiar with your breast.
So you just have to be
Because
an expert in your own breast.
absolutely, and not even an expert. It's more so of knowing your breast because you would know a change. And so breasts are naturally lumpy, bumpy. So for all my women who haven't done a breast exam, when you do your first one, do not freak out. Some of our breasts are more lumpier and bumpier than others, and so it feels like you're crossing over and hitting all kind of stuff. Now that's normal, but it's that change is where that early detection comes from. So if I'm doing my monthly breast exam, there's a good time to do them. So you, as a woman, you all can agree with me and may already know that our breasts kind of change through our cycle. And so if you ever get breast tenderness, a month, or not a month, a week or two before your cycle, believe it or not, it's hormonal. And so your breasts can be very, very tender, sometimes to the point where even having on the bra is uncomfortable, but that is hormonal. And so the best time to check your breast is about 3 to 5 days after your cycle has started, because they tend to be not as lumpy and bumpy during that time. But what you were looking for is a change. So I felt this lump and bump last month and it feels the same this month. So I'm not worried about that. But last month I didn't feel this lump or bump, and this lump or bump is here, it's new, it's bigger, it's changing in some form or fashion. And so the whole point of breast exams is just so that you become familiar with your breast. If you detect something or feel something, you bring it up to your doctor, even if it's nothing. Even if you think, oh, this is probably nothing, bring it up. Hey, doc, I feel a lump. You know, can you feel it for me? And you all walk through it that way. But that's our first step that we can do for ourselves, or our monthly breast exams.
So you said monthly breast exam, and the best time to do it is 3 to 5 days after you've gotten your period.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
You got it. And then there are mammograms. And so again, mammograms are not preventative per se. It doesn't stop you from getting breast cancer. It's all about early detection. With mammograms, there are recommended ages. And so the recommended age for a mammogram is age 50. Now, for all my women out there that have gotten mammograms before, that recommended age actually changed, because it used to be at the age of 40. And so a lot of women say, well, hey, I thought that at the age of 40 you start getting mammograms. And that was once true. That was the recommended age. But what happened, anytime you're doing a screening test, the benefit to you should be way up here, because you are otherwise healthy and we're just asking you to detect something. The risk to you should be way down here. And so what we were finding between the ages of 40 and 50, we were not necessarily detecting more cancer. We were picking up on those benign, which means non-cancerous lumps and bumps that I was talking about. But on a mammogram, if you see a lump or bump that might look a little off, well, then now you have to do further testing. Different types of mammogram after that. Sometimes you even have to get a biopsy, which means they'll take some tissue and sample it. So because of that, the risk and benefit kind of closed in. And so that age was pushed up to the age of 50. Now, at the age of 40, from 40 to 50, your insurance will still cover it. And you can get breast exams at that age. If you decide not to and you wait till 50, then at the age of 50, we'll recommend routine mammograms.
Okay. So you said a lot, and that's not
Yes.
decisions. So we got the first tip, which is the monthly breast exam, 3 to 5
Yes.
days after your period. The second tip is get a mammogram. The recommended age is 50.
Uh-huh.
Your insurance will cover it between age 40 and age 50.
Yes. So
Okay.
age 50 is where we start recommending it in the medical community, but you may get it sooner. Now, this is for regular risk women, meaning I don't have, my mom doesn't have breast cancer, or my sister doesn't have breast cancer. So those are my first degree relatives, or a lot of people in my family. So let's say my mom or my sister does not have breast cancer, but 6 of my aunts do on my mom's side, and 2 of my aunts on my dad's side. So even though that's not a first degree relative, that is a lot of people that have breast cancer, then your recommended age is going to be different. One thing that I want to share is that sometimes listening to somebody tell you all this information, and it's like your eyes glaze over because it's like, wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. You can always talk to your physician. Always. You can always just, hey, especially whether it's breast cancer awareness or not, just, hey, what about my mammograms? And they can go through your risk with you to say, okay, hey, this is a recommended age, or hey, no, I recommend you get it sooner. But for those who have breast cancer in their family, especially their first degree moms and sisters, dads, men can get breast cancer too. I don't think we've said that, but men can get breast cancer too. So, yep, breast cancer too.
So with that, you said talk to your physician, because if you have a family history, even if it's not like close, even if it's like removed, but there's a lot of people in your family that had it, your physician may recommend an age earlier than 50.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Self breast exams. As far as breast cancer and symptoms, because one thing that I know that I see a lot is breast pain. And I think once our breasts hurt, we always go to the worst possible scenario to say, oh my gosh, this is cancer. Good news. So breast pain is actually not a prevalent symptom of breast cancer. Breast pain can happen because, like I say, from period. So my period is coming. I've gone through those hormonal changes and my breasts are hurting me. Breast can hurt because of caffeine. So by design, I think it's evil, but by design, caffeine can stimulate breast tissue and make your breast hurt. So that's any caffeine, including chocolate. I know. I plan on asking the question when it's my time to say, well, why is that designed like that? But caffeine can cause your breast to hurt. So breast pain, which is the most common symptom that I see as a family physician, is actually the least common symptom as far as breast cancer goes. A lot of times there are no symptoms associated with it besides I felt a lump. Either my doctor felt it, I felt it, or I got a mammogram and it was too small to feel. So neither me nor my doctor felt it, but the mammogram picked it up.
Okay. So you're saying that so you said as a physician, you, I guess, get a lot of people that come in and say, oh, my breast hurt, is it cancer?
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying, no, well, could be, but breast pain is not a symptom. So if your breast hurt, that's not something to freak out about or go and say, oh, I have cancer, I need to go to the doctor. But if you feel a lump, or if a lump is detected on a mammogram, one that you couldn't feel because it was small maybe, and you're at that recommended age or whatever, you got your mammogram and they're saying, hey, there's something, then those are the most common ways that you can detect cancer.
Breast cancer, yep. All lumps. So when you feel a lump or a bump, that's different. Because there is a lump or bump there, even if it's changed, does not mean that it's cancer. Like I say, it does mean bring it up, but it doesn't mean that it's cancer. There are benign, and benign is just a fancy word for non-cancerous, non-dangerous. There are benign lumps and bumps that we can have that has that is also not breast cancer. But the moral of the story is just you bring it up, and you all can work through that with your physician. You can work through that to evaluate it further. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to freak out and start planning, because it may not be cancerous, but you do need to bring it up.
So you're saying if you find a lump, don't panic, don't freak out. Just let your physician know, and then y'all go forth with testing from there. Okay.
Yes.
I think that's good. There a lot of stuff that I didn't even know. I'm in my 30s, and so I've had that question of like, when are you supposed to get a mammogram? We get emails and stuff sometimes. It's like, oh, free mammograms or whatever, and I'm like, oh, am I supposed to get one?
Yeah.
Yeah, am I supposed to be doing that? So it's good to know the recommended age, and you just reminded me I probably should talk to my doctor because we do have a history in our family. So. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to share those tips with us. I'm not even a physician, but everything that I see during Breast Cancer Awareness Month always talks about early detection. And so obviously this topic is huge, but we just wanted to focus on practical tips that we could give women out there to be able to detect it early And then, like you said, obviously, if you do feel something and you go to your physician, you work with your physician to go from there to figure out if it's cancerous or not. And everything that we can do just as members of the community to donate, to lift up and support women who are dealing with it, prayers. I mean, it really is a community issue. And like you said, I didn't even know that men could get it. And so I definitely think I love pink already, but I love October, and I love the awareness that surrounds this topic, because I mean, you see it everywhere, and you see early detection is key. And so if you have any questions, it sounds like you're saying, have a physician, contact your physician, and get all your questions answered.
Absolutely.
Perfect. All righty. Well, thank you for providing the tips, and you have a great rest of your day.
You as well.
And we'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.